What is that right there, Dad?
Oh my God, man. I cannot believe this.
Guys, thank you for visiting my channel again. This is Maxwell's Unearthly, coming back at you again with another experience that I had growing up that I would like to share with all of you. So let's get right into it. So guys, let me tell you about a time back in 2000 when I was doing missionary service and I had to travel to another state and devote and volunteer a portion of my time to do this, to volunteer as a missionary. And I had a very strange paranormal experience. So it was me and another volunteer just like me that paired up at the time to visit people and sort of talk to them about Christ-like things, right? So we visited a Spanish-speaking mother and her 15-year-old daughter that we decided to visit because we had not seen them in a very long time. So we stopped a couple times and just to say hello, say hello to her teenage daughter, kind of build, relationships of trust and whatnot. And during the last visit, the last time that I was actually there visiting her, she actually opened up to us and started to relate some very strange things that were happening in her house. For instance, she told me that personal items that she would set down in one spot, she would find somewhere else in the home. And another instance was strange moaning noises could be heard in the room as she was praying at night before bedtime. Other times the TV would turn on every night at exactly 10 o'clock p.m. We never witnessed that because as volunteers we needed to be home at a certain time, and it was way past our visiting hours. So another experience that she had is that her room would change temperatures very dramatically, and it could be very hot or it could be very cold at random times of the night. And she told me as she was sitting there talking to me that there was one night that particularly scared the wits out of her. She was asleep, and out of nowhere the closet doors just flung open with brute force, waking her up instantly and very, very startled and scared. And all of these things, she said, was just nerve-wracking to her. I think one thing you should guys be aware is that the person who volunteered with me didn't speak or understand Spanish. So this made it very difficult for him to understand what was going on and what was she relating to me. So poor guy, while we were conversing, me and the mother, my friend could not understand a thing. But nonetheless, he was very happy to be there. And after she told me the things that were happening to her, she said, "I feel its presence." And then I turned to her and I said, whose presence? And then she said, that thing, the thing that's in the house. I asked her to point it out to me, and she did, but I couldn't see anything there. it's like she had developed a sense of where it was, I guess, without me or anybody else being able to see it. Because I asked her, I said, how do you know where it is? And she said, well, I just know. Well, I guess I've gotten so used to it that I just know where it is. So I thought that was really strange. And then all of a sudden, while she was pointing those things out to me, or where it was, she said, oh, it moved to the bedroom. So I said, oh, okay. So we both got up, and from the entrance of her bedroom, she pointed to the corner wall where there was a picture of Jesus in that corner. And then, she said, oh, it's right there. It's in that corner. So I guess the next move on my part was probably not the smartest. But I'll tell you what, I'll never forget what happened, and how that definitely changed my perspective on things. I obviously asked her for permission. I said, hey, is it okay if I go to your bedroom or that corner? And she said yes right away. So she was asking me to bless the home. She was really tired of that. So I said, yeah, definitely, we'll go ahead and do whatever we can. Obviously, watching all of this unfold and not having the ability to speak or understand the language, my friend who was a volunteer, asked me what was going on. And so I told him that, I was going to the room to investigate, something that was very concerning to this person, to the mother. And then I would be back shortly. And his response was kind of funny to me at the time. He was like, are you guys playing a game or something? I said, no. But if I do need your help, which I more than likely will, I'll give you a nudge. So come on. When I ask you to come on over, just come. So he just sat back down. He was like, okay, cool. So I slowly made my way to the bedroom corner. And just before I stood there, I asked the mother if, that thing was still in the corner. And she said yes. And so, me being the curious, dumb 19-year-old that I was, I decided it was a good idea to just maybe put my hand, maybe reach into that corner, see what I would feel. And boy, did that change my understanding of things. So as I reached in, I felt like I was placing my hand in some weird, what I can only describe as some weird energy ball that I just don't know how else to describe that. When I reach into this energy ball of some sort, just, for lack of a better term, man, the hairs on my arm and on my back and on the scalp of my head felt like they stood up. And it was like an extreme sense of chills. I don't know if you guys ever gotten like chills, but grab those feelings times 10. And at the same time, I felt like a weird pressure squeezing my hand, but also expanding my hand at the same time, which was extremely weird. And if that wasn't enough, I also felt like this thing or this ball of energy, whatever it was, it had some extreme malice towards me. I don't know if you guys have ever had a very intense argument or feud with someone, and it was to the point of maybe fighting, and you were kind of like waiting for that moment again to meet. That sense of, feud or just that intensity was there as well. I don't know how to explain it any other way. I only put my part of the arm there, from my hand to maybe halfway to my arm, for a couple seconds, but that was enough for me to know that, it was something that just wasn't of this world, and that to me it was evil, and it was not okay with us or her or anyone being there. So at this point, I'm extremely without words, speechless. And I asked, my volunteer friend to come in the living room with me. He was in the living room, and I asked him to come into the room with me. And he did, and he was kind of chirpy. He was clueless about what was going on. He didn't understand anything. He was like, "Okay, hey, what's up?" I'm just like, "Yeah, so I want you to go to that corner, and I want you to put your hand in there." And for some reason, I guess, I don't know why he did this, but instead of putting his hand there, he put his whole body in there. So he walks right over there, and he sticks his whole body. And he probably stood there for a couple seconds. And I tell you what, he turns around, and this guy was as pale and as white as Casper the Ghost. And he turns around. While he's turned around and he's looking at me, he's like, "What was that?" And I immediately just told him, I don't know. But that's when we proceeded to bless the home. Anyway, guys, that was my experience. I hope you like my story. It was real. It did happen. And it was one of the most compelling paranormal experiences that I've had. I've had some pretty compelling ones, right? But this was one of the more, I guess, physical ones that I've ever had. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and share if you can, to anybody that would be interested in listening to my paranormal experiences. This was Maxwell's Unearthly, signing off, guys. Thanks so much for your time.